On behalf of the Thurgood Marshall Junior Mock Trial Program, the Honorable Elizabeth Taylor, the Honorable Doris Gonzalez, the Administrative Judge for Bronx County, the Honorable Alvin Woodward, also Administrative Judge for Bronx County for the criminal term. Welcome to the 25th anniversary of the Thurgood Marshall Junior Mock Trial Program. I can't tell you how excited I am to welcome all the students back to the courthouse. Over the last 2 years, we've been doing the program virtually. I do want to give a special thanks to the IT department in Bronx County. You guys revived us after we were shut down by the COVID-19 pandemic. The school still shows their interest in the program, and because of our fabulous IT team, we were able to do this program virtually. So let's give a big hand to the IT department. I just want to mention that the primary purpose of the Thurgood Marshall Junior Mock Trial Program is really about our students. It's really to provide them with a positive introduction to our great judicial system, which is the best judicial system in the world. That's right. It also gives our student opportunity to take on an academic challenge that many junior high school students don't get an opportunity to do so. So I want to just give a big round of applause to all the students who participated in the program this year. Great job. So, usually we had, when we were in person before we were shut down before the pandemic, we had 32 schools. As we came back to life after the pandemic, we have 14 schools who participated this year and last year. And being back in person, I want to take attendance, and I want to see which school, when I call your school, can make the most noise. So this year, who's been competing with us, who took on this academic challenge, we have Castle Hill Middle School 127. We have the Jacob Blackmore School, 111Q. We have Dr. Roland Patterson, IF 229. We have our finalists in both the 7th and 8th grade, the Epiphany School. We have the Harriet Tubman Charter School. We have one of our finalists, the Icon Charter School 2. We have Stephen Decatur, MS 35, the Magnet School for Leadership and Exploration in the Arts. We have St. Angela Marici, defending champion. Let me just give a big round of applause to St. Angela Marici. This was their last year. The school is unfortunately closing down. They have been a participant in this program for many years and have won the title several times. Thank you, St. Angela Marici, for all the great times. We're going to miss you. Our 8th grade finalists, the Sheila Mitchell School, MS 95. The Urban Institute of Mathematics, are you here? Well, guess we only got a couple for the Urban School. And finally, you have the William and Niles Middle School, MS 118. Are you guys here? Again, congratulations, guys. I really want to welcome you guys to the Bronx County Courthouse. I just can't tell you how excited I am to see everyone back in the building. It really is a great day to be in the Bronx. So today we have some fabulous speakers that we want to get started so we can get this competition rolling. But before I do, I want to introduce the finalists. So when I call the finalists, I just want you guys to stand up and get your recognition that you deserve. So our 7th grade finalists, the prosecution team from Icon 2, Charter School 2, can you stand up? Icon Charter School 2, prosecution 2. All right, you're gonna have a good competition here. The defense team from the Epiphany School, can you stand up? All right, both teams look like they're ready. They're ready to battle this competition out. Our 8th grade finalists, the prosecution team from the Epiphany School. And our defense team from the 8th grade, the Sheila Mincher School Public School 95. All right. Like we're gonna have a hot competition. I'm looking forward to some great advocacy work here. Okay, we're gonna get started. We're gonna start with our first speaker, who is a proud alumni of our program, alumnus of our program. In 1999, that's right, I said 1999, he participated, I think it was MS 145, am I right? No, 66? Oh, I know one of those schools over there. So Edward Estrada, who's an attorney for New York City Court Counsel, we're going to have him come up, be our first speaker. I know he looked like he could still be in junior high school, but this was him back in 1999, sitting in the chair that you're sitting in now, and now he's one of our great city attorneys, Mr. Estrada.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to congratulate all of you for your participation in the 25th Thurgood Marshall Junior Mock Trial Competition. My name is Edward Estrada, and 24 years ago, I was a 7th grade participant in this competition. Because of this competition, today I'm an attorney, a trial attorney for the city of New York. I am here to encourage all of you to continue to participate in this competition as students, coaches, judges, and of course, sponsors and volunteers. And here's why. I was born and raised in the South Bronx, raised by a single mother on welfare and in projects. 24 years ago, my coach during this competition, the Honorable Sally Manzanet Daniels, who was also born and raised in the South Bronx, was the first attorney I ever met in my life. Through this competition, she made me believe that someone who came from my neighborhood and who looked like me could also become an attorney. Teachers and coaches, I'm speaking to you. Through this competition, you have the power to encourage and inspire these students and future students to pursue their dreams. I also encourage you all to continue to participate in this program because our students need mentors. My team's gonna win that year, but that did not stop the Honorable Sally Manzanet Daniels from believing in me. She got me into high school and wrote me recommendations for college, my master's program, and eventually law school. And 15 years after she was my mock trial coach for this very competition, she swore me in as a judge of the appellate division the day I became an attorney. This program is why I am here today. It is the reason that I became an attorney. To all the sponsors, I am a testament to the success of this competition. Please continue to generously support it so that others like me can dream bigger than they ever thought they could. Finally, to all the students, it doesn't matter whether you won or lost in this competition. Through this competition, you have acquired the skills, the hard work, and the courage to succeed in any career that you choose. Use what you learned in this competition to accomplish your dreams. Stay in touch with your teachers and your coaches and allow them to mentor you. Allow them to help you accomplish your goals so that one day you can return to this competition as a volunteer, a coach, maybe even a judge, and you can encourage and inspire students like you to also pursue their dreams. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Estrada. You really have made the Thurgood Marshall Junior Mock Trial program very proud. Thank you. All right, now I'm going to ask you guys to give your attention over to the screen. We have another history maker in our midst who's the first African-American chief judge of the state of New York. the Honorable Warren D. Wilson. Thank you for joining us. Yes, speak a little louder. Thank you, Justice Wilson. I know we have some difficulty understanding what Justice Wilson was saying, but it just shows you how important, how special it is to be back. Because when you guys did your competition virtually, we had some technical difficulties, so that's why it's so good to be back in person. I definitely miss you guys. Our next speaker is a daughter of the Bronx, and Bronx person is the acting presiding justice of the Appellate Division First Department, the Honorable Diane Runway.
Good afternoon. I hope that you can hear me. I just want to congratulate all of you for participating this afternoon. I can't believe that this program that we are celebrating 25 years. It's really 26 years. It began in 1997. And I think that's such a wonderful tribute to Liz Taylor, Justice Liz Taylor. for her extraordinary vision and hope for the students of our borough, for the children of our borough, because she believes in them, she believes in you, she believed that we could do better for our own children, and she put her mind to it, and she gathered up a lot of people. Eddie McShann, who also has been working tirelessly as long, I think, almost as you have, Liz, and the board of directors and the advisory board, and all of you, I think, who have followed Liz in her tremendous vision and hard work to achieve something better for our students. I encourage the teachers to continue to enroll their students in these programs, and mostly I encourage the judges and the lawyers and the court attorneys and everyone who serve as coaches to continue to participate, to teach our children that it is possible for them to find their voices in places like courts or in boardrooms or in other places that they can make a difference. So I congratulate all of you. Remember, it does not matter if you win here. It matters that you came and you played your best game, that you gave it your all. Because if you do that on every occasion that you have to speak or to do whatever it is, if you do your best will get better and better and better. So please just continue to participate, continue to know that you can achieve great things. And it's a testament that you are here today. So congratulations and good luck.
Okay, Justice Rimmer beat me to the point, but this is our 25th anniversary, and I do want to give a special recognition. I'm going to ask her to come to the front. The Honorable Elizabeth Taylor, please come to the front. I can't express the dedication and energy that she has put into this program. She really deserves all the credit in the world for making this possible. Murphy, I knew she was going to say no, because she's too shy to speak. All right. Thank you, Judge Taylor. So the Honorable Deborah Kastner, who is the Deputy Chief Administrative Judge for all enforcement in New York City, is unable to join us today, but she did send her Chief of Staff, Linda Dunlap Miller, to give us some encouraging words. Please welcome Ms. Miller.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's try that again. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, much better. I'm going to read a statement that Judge Kaplan would have liked to have presented herself today. So I'm just going to read a couple of comments. And she starts by saying, to all of you who are participating in today's competition, let me begin by saying how sorry I am that I cannot be here today. I had another conflicting event that just could not be changed. Congratulations to you and, of course, to Judge Elizabeth Taylor. You're fortunate, however, that my Chief of Staff, Linda Dunlap Miller, is participating in my stead. Next, I want to say that by being here today, you're already a winner. I'm so wowed by the work you have done to get here. I will let you in on a little secret, though. I didn't always want to be a lawyer, let alone a judge or a court administrator. In fact, I majored in English in college and minored in American social history. And I thought I wanted to write and teach high school English. However, I came to realize through my student teaching and conversations with my students that many had family members who were involved in court proceedings. A family member had been sued, or someone was trying to collect from them because a bill had not been paid, or
they were being evicted from their home. Or, on the other hand, we have someone who was arrested and alleged to have committed a crime. These individuals often would not understand what was happening, and they were confused and frightened and didn't know what to do. I'm sure that as I look around the room, you can imagine that the legal process is scary if you don't understand it and have little exposure to our court system. And if it was a civil matter, sometimes that would not be able to afford an attorney. I realized then there were so many people who needed someone to stand up for them in court, and I wanted to be that person. I wanted to make sure their rights were being respected and they were being well represented. I also wanted to be sure that they were treated with care, compassion, and of course, dignity. I decided that I had to go to law school, and then I never looked back. After law school, I became a public defender. I worked at Legal Aid Society for over a decade, representing individuals charged with crime. The people whom I represented knew that I was committed to ensuring that their constitutional rights were protected. They knew they could trust me to respect, support, and listen to them and not judge them. I then went to work in the court system as a lawyer and later was elected as a judge. I hope that you too will consider a career in the law as a lawyer or in one of the many wonderful job opportunities within our court system family, such as court clerk, court officer, interpreter, or many other positions that we have. By participating in this mock trial today, you're already well on your way. If you continue to work hard, if you believe in yourself, the sky's the limit. But whatever you decide to do, dream big. And as Harriet Tubman is quoted as saying, every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. All of you here have the ability to make the world a better place. I have every bit of confidence that you will do just that. Enjoy your trial experience. I hope one day to see you in my courtroom trying a case.
Okay, we're getting closer to that time. I know the competition is ready to get boiling here, but our next two speakers really make it possible for us to continue to have this mock trial program in Bronx County. Our first speaker is going to be the Honorable Doris Gonzalez, who's the Administrative Judge of Bronx County for the civil term. Judge Gonzalez.
So good afternoon. On behalf of the Supreme Court Civil Term, welcome to the 25th Thurgood Marshall Moot Court Competition, the finals back in person since 2019. Woo-hoo! So we welcome you. What an awesome day. Our opening speaker, Mr. Estrada, who I've known since and watched him work for the city of New York, trying cases here in the Bronx, who I have seen grow as a tremendous litigator. Before we move to this year's program, like other speakers here, I think it's important, again, to give thanks to those who contributed to make it happen. Thanking all for the hard work, discipline, and dedication, and making sure that the Thurgood Marshall program has and continues to go forward every year, despite the last few years' challenges. I am so grateful for Justice Elizabeth Taylor, her staff, Appellate Division Judge Eddie McShane, Darlene Dove, Dana Diaz, Tracy Rowe, Stephanie Ramos, the Board of Directors, judges, court officers, coaches, and anyone who is behind the scenes, including DA Clark, who is here in support of each and every one of you today. And more importantly, the IT department, who make it happen every year. With ever asking to be in the limelight, may we celebrate their contribution. Educators, coaches, and parents, thank you for caring enough to make a difference for your students. I share this opening program today with so many court administrators, including Chief Judge Rowan Wilson, the DCAJ of the city, Deborah Kaplan, and her Chief of Staff, Linda Dunlop Miller, the acting presiding justice of the Appellate Division, First Department, Diane Renwick, Madam Borough President Gibson when she arrives, AJ Alvin Yearwood of the criminal term, and many more who collectively are behind the scenes hosting today's events and supporting each and every one of you competing here today. To you, the participants, sometimes it's not only about winning the competition, it's really about participating, engaging, putting your hand in the game, being in it to win it, being heard, being challenged, and yes, sometimes losing and learning from the failures. And more importantly, letting others know, even although you are different from others and come from the Bronx or are coming from poorer communities, you are worthy of contributions to make society great. You can and will make a difference. Remember always to embrace your differences. Yes, you are here at an early age, and yes, you are already here to change the world. Embrace you. We are proud of you, and thank you for participating. Finalists, the butterflies in your stomachs, the thoughts of what's going to happen now when you go upstairs, your coaches, your educators who have invested in you. Please understand that you have already won. So move forward to the next stage of the finals, have fun, and more importantly, please be considerate of your opposing team. In real life, litigation, you may see your adversaries on the same cases routinely. So learn to interact with dignity and respect for each other despite the competition. Whether you win or not, in the words of Denzel Washington, fall forward. What does it mean to fall forward? It's simply a way to describe leaning into our failures or challenges and using them as learning tools to continue growing. Good luck to the teams, and more importantly than anything, just have fun. Be well.
Thank you, Judge Gonzalez. Thank you for welcoming us back into this beautiful courthouse. Our next speaker is our administrative judge for the criminal term, the Honorable Alvin Yearwood.
I am happy to be here, and I'll tell you why. I snuck into the building because they haven't let me judge this since 2011. They thought it was best not for me not to be a part of this. Because what did I do? I made a ruling that caused two of the coaches to almost come to fisticuffs. I thought it was cool. I thought the ruling was right, but they decided, no, stay away. The only reason they got me here is because I'm the administrative judge of Supreme Court criminal term. But nonetheless, they let me in the door, and I'm happy to be here. I acknowledge everyone who has spoken and those who will speak. My good friend, the Honorable Darcel Clark, this brother here, even though I'm from Brooklyn, anytime you say top 5 MCs, he's either 1, 2, or 3, no lower. Criminal Minded, Southside Bronx. All right. So I'm supposed to give you some words of inspiration. I envy you. And the reason I envy you was because growing up in the dark ages, I didn't have this, right? I had people who were interested in helping me along, but I didn't have this opportunity. And yet, I've gotten to a certain point in my life, and the other speakers will tell you, there is nothing special about us. I'm a child of the Caribbean, grew up in Brooklyn, went to law school. People thought that I would make a good attorney. They pushed me in that way. People thought I would be a good judge. They pushed me in that way. And a couple of years ago, the powers that be thought that I would be good as an administrative judge to run Supreme Court criminal term. I say this to say that there is nothing special about me. I am you 50 years later, right? So I just want you to do the best that you can. I want you to win because we do keep score. I want you to win. But be respectful in trying to win. Because if all you will have in this game is your reputation, and you want to develop a good reputation as you go forward, somebody who can be trusted. Now, some of you who are arguing today will probably end up in a career as far away from the law as possible. However, take the opportunity to decide if this is what you want to do. This isn't for everybody, but if you decide it's something you want to do, there is no stopping you. This is all about you. Give yourself a round of applause.
We're getting closer to that time. Our next speaker is a daughter of the Bronx, a sister of the Bronx, a legend in the Bronx from the Eden Wall housing projects, Soundview housing projects. Our very own, the first African-American, the first female district attorney in the state of New York, our very own, the Honorable Darcel Clark.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you, Judge Machan. It's great to be here. I want to give it up to Justice Liz Taylor. Liz, you had that vision 26 years ago. We were lawyers. You know, I was an assistant district attorney. Liz was a civil lawyer. She was working in the courts. We had this idea. She had this idea about putting together a mock trial program for young people in the Bronx. And I was one of the first lawyers to be one of the first coaches at junior high school 22, I think it was. Yeah. So it was great. And look at this now, 25 years later. So thank you. I'm not going to repeat what everyone says, but this is a tremendous moment and time in your lives that you're doing something that's going to be so impactful. Whether you become a lawyer or a judge or anything in the law, it's important that you learn how to prepare yourself for anything that you're about to do. How you learn how to stick up for yourselves or others and argue on behalf of somebody else. How you learn to be persuasive to get what you want. These are all the things that you learn from this mock trial program. So I know it from being a coach. I know it from 16 years on the bench where I served this county, as well as being a judge in the mock trial program as well in my courtroom. And now as a district attorney for the last 8 years. So you're doing you're still doing the same criminal, it's a criminal trial, so I know all about that. You're gonna learn great things. Have fun, enjoy it. Whether you win or lose, you're all winners. I'm happy to celebrate with you. Enjoy the day.
Thank you, District Attorney Clark. And I did forget, I say judge because she's a former judge. She's now a district attorney in Bronx County, and she has been with us from the very beginning, and she has always been a supporter of our program. So thanks again to our district attorney, Darcel Clark. All right, I know we're anxious to get this show started, but before I get to my keynote speakers, I just want to give a couple big shout outs, and I'm going to ask certain people to stand. I want to start with the board members of the Thurgood Marshall Jr. mock trial. Can you all just stand? You deserve a huge, huge applause. We have Peter Riggs, attorney, Sandra Case, our scholarship sponsor, Stephen Kaufman, a big supporter of the program, the incredible Honorable Stanley Schlein, incredible supporter of the program. Anybody else? Kananda Murray, stand up. Stand up, Kananda. Oh, you're standing. Also, all the judges who participated in the program this year or in the past, all the judges, please stand up. When I say judges, I mean the attorney judges and, of course, all of our civil and Supreme Court judges. All the judges, please stand up. Thank you to the judges for making this a realistic experience for our students. All the attorney coaches, please stand up. All the attorney coaches, please stand up. Don't be shy, because you guys deserve a huge round of applause. Without you, we could not make this program happen. Thank you to all the attorney coaches. Most importantly, all the teachers and all the principals. Teachers, principals, please stand up. You guys make our future possible. Thank you for educating our youth. Thank you for doing an incredible job that you've been doing. And of course, all the students, congratulations for taking on this academic challenge. You guys are all champions. That's right, give it up. Now I want to introduce our keynote speaker as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of hip hop. Who in here likes hip hop? Anybody here like hip hop? We are celebrating 50 years of hip hop. Now, our keynote speaker believes that hip hop started in the Bronx. Is that right? MC Shan may say something different, but I had the honor of hearing our keynote speaker, KRS-ONE, a legend of hip hop, speak back in 1988-89 at St. Lawrence University. I thought he was an incredible speaker then. I'm looking forward to hearing him speak today. Let's give it up for Bronx own, the legendary KRS-ONE!
Wow. You're gonna have to cut me off. Keep me on time, please. This is a wonderful event. Let me start off by saying that. First of all, there's one thing I do want to speak to you about in terms of encouragement. I was listening here, I'm sitting, I'm listening, I'm gathering in what this is about. I mean, of course, you get the brochure, you get everything, but to be here is something quite different. I want to talk to you also not only about Hip Hop 50 years, but just piggybacking on everything that was said here today. I'd like to just add one more piece to your future as attorneys, judges, city officials, etc. There's one more piece that you got to think about here. And this piece is called ethics. 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 A lot of the law is based on ethics, based on a group of morals. What are your morals? What is good? What is evil to you? Because maybe some of you have already had this discussion, maybe you're getting ready to come up to it, but morality is based on what a society feels it wants for itself. There is no absolute right and wrong, good and evil. These things are based upon what the society feels it needs to survive. So as you study law, as you prepare yourself to become an attorney or anyone that is judging a situation, I urge you to also study philosophy as well. Now, of course, that's a bias because I'm a philosopher, but I urge you to study philosophy because the one thing that philosophy gives you is the ability to know what is real from what is fake, what is right from what is wrong, what is the cause versus what is the effect. If you don't know these things, it's going to be difficult to make decisions either for yourself or on other people's lives. If you yourself are not a moral person, how can you judge morally? And I say this for you to really think about because this is some of the challenges that we face today with the judicial system. Those that are in charge of justice are not just. Now, I know some of you may feel out, I'm studying to be an attorney. What is he talking about? Well, this is what I'm talking about. You can make this world a better place, but it's not just about talk. It's about your real conviction. When I was sitting here just now, I read this piece up here, and I want to read it to you again so that we could all be reminded. You probably should take a picture of it. It says, the glory of America is that she is a great, what? Spiritual conception. Let me read it to you again. The glory of America is that she is a great spiritual conception, and in the spirit of her institutions dwells not only her distinction, but her power. The one thing that the world cannot permanently resist is the moral, that's the word I want to get to, is the moral force of great and triumphant convictions. The moral force, the ethical force. Me, I'm from hip hop. We keep it really real. So I'm keeping it really real with you right here. We need some reform in justice. We need some real reform in justice. And I'm hoping that you guys are being inspired to be that change. To be that change. Now let me show you a little bit of injustice and see how y'all can deal with it. Here's injustice, starting with hip hop's 50th anniversary. So you got hip hop's 50th anniversary. That means we're starting in 1973 at a place called 1500 Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx. There's a community center that a guy named Cool DJ Hurt first brought his equipment to and started playing the instrumental breaks of songs. These instrumental breaks that he was playing was called the merry-go-round. He called this technique the merry-go-round. But what this was that he would only play the instrumental breaks of certain songs. So little guys like me, I was 8 years old, little guys like me come out, we didn't dance to everything. We only danced to the breaks of these records that Cool Herc was playing. This is where you get the term break dancing or breakers, B-boys, B-girls. Now, the party gets so big that he takes the party outside the community center and takes it down to a place called Cedar Park. In Cedar Park, DJs are coming out, MCs are doing their thing. the scene of hip hop is being created for free in the public park. Now just take this in for a minute. This billion-dollar culture that we are enjoying today, us rappers and DJs and so on, billions of dollars are being made annually with this culture, on this culture, in this culture, started for free in the parks of the Bronx. Now this is what we didn't know. We're just being ourselves. We're just being us. We dance over here, we rap over there, we just being us. But we did not know that what we called us matched every other urban area in the world. You're not hearing me. What we thought was just us was also the urban areas of China, the urban areas of Iran, the urban areas of Europe, France, Germany, Spain, etc. The urban areas of Africa, Ghana, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Ethiopia. How does a person from the Bronx step up, grab a microphone, and puts out an attitude that the whole world agrees with? That didn't happen in Brooklyn. Hold on, hold on. BX in the building, hold up. I still do visit Flatbush, though. How is it that some kids from the Bronx can express themselves, and that expression is cosmopolitan, global? The way you think is the way the world thinks. This is what we had to realize. We thought that the way we thought was only the way we thought. We didn't realize that the way we were thinking and acting was the way the whole world was thinking and acting. And when you discover that, you realize that the decisions you make about yourself are the decisions that others can make about themselves. The morals, the ethics that you uphold are the morals and the ethics that others are going to uphold because of you. This is not just about studying law. This is about the practice of law. Isn't that the term in law? We are practicing the law. Well, to practice law, you got to be a moral person yourself. You got to be following some ethics yourself. So here's the injustice. We started as a free culture in the park. 50 years later, we say, to celebrate our 50th anniversary, why don't we do it again free in the park? Why don't we go to Cedar Park? Free in the park. That's how we started. 50 years later, let's do the same thing. Here comes Yankee Stadium, though. Now the culture says, let's do it for free. Let's give our people something. Everybody made money on hip hop all year round for the last 50 years. This one time, on August 11th, 2023, can we give back to the community? We hip hop, can we thank the Bronx for delivering this magnificent culture to us? Can we just do that one time in the 50th year? No. Yankee Stadium says, I need to charge the Bronx $50, $200, $400, $700. If you want to be on the grounds of Yankee Stadium, $2,300 for the 50th anniversary of hip hop. That's injustice. There is no balance with that. Now here's the balance. Here's the scales of justice being balanced. So here you got corporations, by the way, it's Google, Pixel, Ciroc, Live Nation. They're all coming into your community and exploiting the culture you created. Now, you don't point fingers and complain, you act. And what's the act? Let's balance the scales of justice. Here's the balance. You're only thinking about capitalism. That's it. You trying to make money on something that ain't yours, first of all. Second of all, Bronx people ain't paying $300, $400. What? Nobody in the Bronx got that kind of money for a concert? No. So how does hip hop respond? Well, we gather up our friends, myself, Chuck D, a Public Enemy, Talib Kweli, Grandmaster Flash, and a whole host of others. We said, look, we're gonna go to Bronx Community College. Beautiful campus at Bronx Community College. Why don't we throw a free 3-day festival event for the people of the Bronx? We're hip hop, these other people are not. So wherever we are is where the party is. Hip hop started as a back to school jam. That's why they went in the community center trying to raise money to go back to school. They want to buy clothes and all this stuff to go back to school. 50th anniversary, what should we be doing then? We should be back in school. So now at the end of the day, hold your applause, I only got a few minutes. 1 minute. Back in school. That's why we're in college. That's why I commend students. Hip hop was created by students, not gangsters. Students created hip hop. The concept of hip hop even coming into existence was for us to raise money to go back to school. But now if you let these corporations tell you what hip hop is, you don't know the real from the fake. You don't know the right from the wrong. You can't be ethical then, because you can't make a decision based on right. So I leave you with this. That saying up there on that wall pretty much sums it all up. That this country is a spiritual conception. Spiritual conception. Why is it a spiritual conception? Because there is where ethics is. There's where morality is. Let me keep it real with you, real. Science is not morality or ethics. If you cannot see, hear, touch, smell, taste it, science don't see it. Science don't know where consciousness is. Science don't know what the mind is. Science don't recognize charity because you can't eat it. You can't touch love. You can't touch forgiveness. But aren't these things real? They're real. You feel them. You react to them. But if you study justice without these invisible, untangible things, you won't be able to judge morally. Thanks for listening.
Let's hear it for the legendary KRS-ONE! Thank you. Thank you. All right. We're going to get ready to go up to the courtrooms, but we want to do this in an orderly fashion. So I'm going to give some very important instructions right now. So the 7th grade competition is going to be held in courtroom 711. And the judges for the 7th grade competition are our Honorable Doris Gonzalez and the Honorable Alvin Yearwood. I'm going to have the 7th grade finalists from Icon Charter 2 and the Epiphany School to go up to courtroom 711. Everyone else stay seated because I got further instructions. I need to pick a jury.
Okay, let's continue. All communications with the coaches, teachers, or anyone else cease at this moment. The verdict today doesn't mean you win. It's just a verdict. It's the high score who determine who win or who lose. Now I'm going to talk to you guys. Congratulations to get to the finals. You did a great job. I'm being seventh grade, but I'm pretty sure you guys did. Just a few reminders. You're going to have a microphone. But if you're standing anywhere else, you have to speak loud. We have a juror today. You have to address the jurors. So anyone know what is a bench trial? Okay. When it's a bench trial, you address the judges. But we have a jury, so you have to make sure you talk to them. Through the trial, I will show you these signs. This means you have 30 seconds, you have to wrap up whatever you're saying and go. If there is time, you have to cut it. This is the final, we are limiting time. We have to be downstairs early. If you talk too low like me, that nobody can hear me, I said speak up, okay? So aware that I'm gonna be in that corner, away from the cameras, show you these signs. It's very important. If you're talking too fast, because we all get nervous, I'm gonna say you slow down a little bit, okay? So this is a few reminders that I have for you. You have 3 minutes for opening statement, 5 for direct examination, 3 for cross-examination, and 3 for closing arguments. Once the trial commences, it's no phone or any device allowed in here, not even take pictures, okay? When you're not speaking, you can talk to among yourself, but make sure it's not loud, like you can control that. All right, so now please stand up and shake hands with the other team, your adversaries.
What she was like, because they need to speak us too.
Yeah.
So she's going to show me.
Okay. Yes.
She did. Okay.
Did she give you permission?
Yeah. We wanted to do the channel like okay. You're the only one that we need to see a camera on.
Okay. Just for the witnesses, I was explaining to your teammates that I will have a few of signs, and this is mean 30 seconds. Your time is up, almost up. This one is already up. Speak up, because sometimes we nervous or whatever the case might be, you need to speak up and slow down sometimes. Okay, so just this is a reminder for the witnesses. Now let's commence the trial, and we have another court officer. Mr. Hernandez, another court officer, is here with us, so we have a full team. Let's start. The trial is started.
All rise. Court Part 20 for 8th grade in the County of the Bronx for the State of New York is now in session. The Honorable Wilma Guzman and Honorable Mitchell Danziger is presiding. Take your seats and come to order. The case on trial is People of the State of New York versus Danny Smith. People, prosecution team, please state your appearances.
Good afternoon, Your Honors. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my name is Julia Ivan. I'm here with my co-counsel, Alex Banerjee and Veronica Coates, and we represent the people of the State of New York against Danny Smith. Thank you.
Defense, please state your appearances.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Kariatu Berry, and along with my colleagues Mariana Mena. Good afternoon, Your Honor. And Brian Roman.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
We are representing the defendant, Danny Smith.
Before Judge Guzman gives you the opening instructions, please be advised, this is a very, very, very large room. It is tough to hear. So witnesses, attorneys, please keep your voices up. It's very important that not only your colleagues hear what you have to say and the witnesses hear what you have to say, but Judge Guzman and myself hear what you have to say. So please keep your voices up. It's a big room.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Thank you for the mic. You can hear what I have to say. I will be giving you the opening statement of the court as to what to expect as jurors and what you will be hearing and listening to during the course of this trial. So now, members of the jury, I am Judge Lola Guzman, and together with my colleague, Judge Mitchell Danziger, we will be presiding over the trial of this matter, the people of the state of New York versus Danny Smith. Now again, the people of the state of New York are represented by the prosecution team, and I will have them introduce themselves in a loud, clear voice to you. Prosecution team.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Julia Ivac. I'm here with my co-counsel, Alex Banerjee and Veronica Coates, and we represent the people of the state of New York against us.
Thank you. The defendant, Danny Smith, is represented by defense counsel. And defense counsels are, please introduce yourself again to the jury.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Kariatu Berry, and along with my colleagues Mariana Mena. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. And Brian Roman.
Good afternoon.
We are representing the defendant, Danny Smith.
Thank you. Now, the defendant, Danny Smith, is charged with the crimes of robbery in the first degree, assault in the first degree, criminal possession of stolen property in the fifth degree, and petty larceny, based on an incident that allegedly happened on the southbound number 2 train on February 10, 2022. There are 3 basic rules regarding a criminal case that you must keep in mind. First, the defendant is presumed innocent unless and until he is proven guilty. The charges against the defendant are accusations and nothing more. Second, the burden of proof is on the people. The defendant has no burden to prove his innocence. Third, the people must prove the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. It will be your duty as duly sworn jurors to find from the evidence what the facts are in this case. You and you alone are the judges of the facts. You will then have to apply the law to the facts and apply the law as I give you or as we give you to the facts as you find them to be. The trial will now begin and the court will now recognize the prosecution for their opening statement.
Good afternoon, Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. It is the prosecution's privilege and duty to present to you the case of the state of New York against Danny Smith. On February 10, 2022, on the southbound number 2 train at the 149th Street and Grand Concourse Station at 3:30 p.m., Bobby McShann was the victim of 2 cowardly and ruthless men, resulting in Bobby being viciously stabbed. Joe Morris and Danny Smith acted in concert to gang up on Bobby and steal his money while Joe Morris sat down next to Bobby and held a knife to his side. Joe Morris was found guilty after trial of assault in the second degree, robbery in the first degree, and criminal possession of a weapon in the fourth degree. The evidence presented today will prove that Danny was an active participant in the commission of these crimes. The evidence will also support the charges against Danny of robbery in the first degree, assault in the first degree, criminal possession of stolen property in the fifth degree, and petty larceny. Bobby McShann was going home on a train she takes every day to and from school. Before she could even take a second to think, two large, scary, and intimidating men approached her. Joe Morris stabbed Bobby in a ruthless crime alongside Danny Smith, who acted in concert by stopping Bobby from getting up and from stopping anyone on the train from seeing the crime. Danny Smith did this all while demanding money from Mrs. McShann. Danny Smith, all 170 pounds and 6 feet and 2 inches of him, clearly had intentions of physically hurting Bobby that day. The evidence will show that after scoping the train for Bobby, Danny walked towards her with Joe, stopped her from getting up, and stole money, $20 to be exact, from her. After committing these acts, Joe Morris and Danny Smith proceeded to run away from the police, giving even more of a reason as to why Danny is guilty. Why would he run away from the police if he had nothing to hide? Why would Joe Morris carry a knife with him if he had no intentions of physically hurting anyone that day? It couldn't have been for his own safety because, of course, he had Danny Smith by his side, who was a hulking accomplice. Danny Smith intimidated Mrs. McShann while his friend held a 9-inch switchblade to the victim's side. This blade is almost a foot long. A 9-inch switchblade is a weapon used for destruction, which could have easily killed Bobby McShann. Danny and Joe saw the opportunity to take advantage of Bobby McShann. The testimonies from our witnesses will show that Danny Smith took part in and was involved with the stabbing of Bobby McShann by using his size to stop Bobby from getting up, to stop anyone on the train from seeing the crime, and to steal his money. Mr. Smith acted with the knowledge that he was helping Joe Morris. If the defendant had no malice in robbing Bobby, he should have froze when the police officer tried to stop him. The prosecution will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Danny was, in fact, an active participant in the crimes that Joe Morris was convicted of. For the welfare of the city, Danny Smith needs to be held accountable for his actions. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Now the court turns to defense, and defense, you will be
Good afternoon, Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury. My name is Kariato Berry, and along with my colleagues Mariana Mena, good afternoon, Your Honors, and Brian Roman,
Good afternoon.
we are representing the defendant, Danny Smith. As you will see, Danny Smith did not have the mens rea, which is a fancy Latin term for the criminal intent to commit any crime. We will produce our 3 witnesses, Gene Higgins, Joe Morris, and Danny Smith. On the day of February 10th of 2022, Bob McShann was stabbed by Joe Morris, who is currently serving 8 years in prison, not Danny Smith. You heard from the prosecution that Danny Smith was an accomplice to the crime and was blocking the victim's way, but that is far from the truth. The prosecution will fail to prove within a reasonable doubt that Danny Smith had the intent to rob and assault Bob McShann. Joe Morris will in fact testify that Danny Smith wanted to leave and wasn't causing any threat or violence whatsoever. Danny Smith himself will testify that he does not know Bob McShann and was trying to go home, showing proof that he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. He only ran away from shock and horror because he never expected to see a stranger getting stabbed on a train. Gene Higgins, a character witness, will testify that Danny Smith specializes in solving pseudo disputes. Although he has great alternate dispute resolution skills, he has never been in a life or death situation where there is a knife to someone's side. He was in a state of panic, and as everything was happening so fast. He tried his best to use his ADR skills by mustering up the courage to tell Joe Morris to leave Bob McShann alone. Who in their right mind will take their time to volunteer and solve pseudo disputes, and then the next day go rob a stranger on the train? Not my client. Thank you for your time, and Danny Smith is not guilty, as he had no mens rea whatsoever, and he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Thank you.
Thank you. Now the court returns to the prosecution and the first witness.
Your Honor, the prosecution calls Mrs. Frances Goodwill to the stand.
Just remain standing, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you have to do, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You have a seat. State your name for the record.
Frances Goodwill?
Your Honor, the witness has been sworn.
Your Honor, may I proceed? You may. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mrs. Goodwill. Mrs. Goodwill? Mrs. Goodwill, are you employed?
Yes.
What is your occupation?
I'm a computer analyst.
Do you take the train?
Yes.
How often do you take the train?
Every weekday in the morning and afternoon.
Were you on the train the afternoon of February 10th, 2022?
Yes.
Where were you going and coming from this day?
I was on my way home from work.
And what train did you take that afternoon?
I took the southbound number 2 train.
Where did you board this train?
I boarded at the Pelham Parkway station
And what time did you get on the train?
around 3:30 p.m.
Do you recognize anybody here from the train on February 10th, 2022?
Yes, I recognize the girl in the gray blazer, the man in the jumpsuit, and the man in the white shirt.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that the witness, Mrs. Frances Goodwill, has identified Bobby McShann, Danny Smith, and Joe Morris. How many people were on the train car? Sorry. How many people were on the train car when you boarded?
There were about 10 people on the train when I boarded.
What station did Danny Smith and Joe Morris board on?
They boarded at the Allerton station.
What happened after you boarded on the train on February 10, 2022?
When Danny and Joe boarded, they walked straight over to Bobby, and Joe sat down next to him and held a knife to his side, and Danny stood over him. And then when the police, and then took $20 from him. And then when the police showed up on the scene, he told them to
Objection.
freeze.
It's narrative.
Overruled, you can answer that question.
And then when the police showed up and told them to freeze, they both ran off the train.
Did anybody else board the train along with Danny Smith and Joe Morris?
About 20 other teenagers.
Before that day, had you ever seen Danny or Joe?
I'd never seen Joe before, but I know Danny from the neighborhood.
What was going on when you saw Bobby McShann on the train?
Danny was standing over him, and Joe had a knife to his side.
And at what station did Danny and Joe start walking towards Bobby?
Right after we left the 180th Street station.
Where were Danny and Joe standing in relation to Bobby?
About 2 feet in front of him.
And did Bobby ever try and get up from his seat?
Yes, but he was unable to.
What was the look on Danny's face when he was standing over Bobby?
I couldn't see him the whole time, but when I could, he was right in the face.
Did Danny and Joe talk to each other on the train before the robbery?
Not that I saw.
Did you see Bobby give money to anybody?
Yes, to Danny.
And what happened after Police Officer Johnson showed up on the train?
When he showed up on the train and told them to freeze, the 2 boys ran off the train.
No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
So good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You were on the train on February 10th, 2022. Is that correct?
Yes.
And there were at least 20 to 30 people on the train. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what I estimated.
Isn't it true that you never heard Danny Smith threaten the life of Bobby McShann?
No, I didn't hear him do anything, but he was blocking Bobby from leaving the train.
And isn't it true you never heard Danny Smith demand money from Bobby McShann?
He had his hand out in order for signaling for Bobby to be forced to hand over money to him.
Your Honor, I object, as that is outside of the scope of the witness, as she never saw Danny Smith have his hand out.
You're objecting to your own question?
I'm objecting to her response, as she never saw Danny
Ask
Smith have his
ask
hand out.
another question to try to confirm that fact.
Okay. Do you recall testifying on January 9, 2023, in a preliminary hearing held by the Honorable Sam Carter?
Yes.
And isn't it true that in that same preliminary hearing, you stated that Danny Smith said to leave Bobby McShann alone?
Yes, he said that, but then did nothing else further to stop the situation.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I would like for you to answer them in a yes or no only.
Ms. Goodwill, please understand the questions he's going to ask, answer them yes or no. If you cannot answer them yes or no, please let the court know that you cannot answer the question yes or no. But your response will be on the yes or no if you can. You may continue, counsel.
So did you see Danny Smith physically harm Bobby McShann?
He was standing over him.
It's a yes or a no.
No.
And isn't it true Joe Morris was the one with the weapon?
Yes.
And isn't it true you only saw the weapon being pulled out, but have no idea what the weapon was used for?
I saw the weapon.
Yes or no. If you can't answer yes or no, tell me.
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Brown. Prosecution, next witness.
Prosecution calls Mrs. Bobby McShann to the stand.
Bobby McShann.
Please raise standing and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Loud and clear voice, state your name for the record.
Bobby McShann.
Witness has been sworn.
And be required.
Good afternoon. How are you today, Carnation? I'm okay. Where were you going directly after school on the day of February 10th, 2022? I was going home from school, as I do every day. How were you getting home? I was taking the southbound number 2 train. How often do you take this train? I take this train every day after school. Mrs. McShann, what happened to you on the train on the day of February 10th, 2022? I was approached by Joe Morris and his friend who was tall and had a lot of body mass, and then Joe Morris went to my left side and sat down.
Objection, Your Honor. Narrative.
Excuse me?
Narrative.
Overruled, you can answer.
And then Joe Morris sat down to my left side, holding a 9-inch switchblade, and Danny Smith stood right in front of me, and I was trying to get up. I tried to stand up, but Joe Morris told me to sit down. And
Objection. Narrative.
And Danny Smith stood in front of me, and I couldn't stand up and get out of the situation. Did you recognize either of these men? I recognized Joe Morris, but I didn't recognize his friend. Do you see his friend in this room today? Yeah, he's the man over there in the white shirt. Your Honor, let the record reflect that the witness, Mrs. McShann, has identified Danny Smith.
So, Dr. Monroe.
How did you recognize Joe Morris? My friend Shorty, he pressured me and threatened me to steal from Joe Morris, and if I didn't know what was going to happen to me. It was a very scary experience, and I didn't know what to do in that situation. So I just listened to my friend who was threatening me, and it was really scary. Was Danny Smith involved with his previous robbery?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading.
Sustained.
Can you please describe the appearance of Danny Smith? He's tall and he has a lot of body mass. He's a lot taller and bigger than me. How close was he standing to you? About 4 feet. He was standing pretty close. How did this make you feel? I felt scared and threatened. It was a lot because I didn't know what was going to happen to me that day, and when he was standing right in front of me and I couldn't move because of him, it was really scary. But I just didn't know what to do. It was really scary. Did you ever try to leave the situation?
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
Your Honor, may I rephrase the question?
You may.
Withdrawn, Your Honor. Was there an exchange of money?
Yes, there was. Objection, leading.
Sustained.
What was Danny doing when you were on the train that day?
So after he came up to me, he put his hand out and I gave him my money because he had his hand out, and Joe Morris told me to give him the money.
What happened after that?
Then I was stabbed and the police showed up, and when the police showed up, they were told to freeze, but they ran away anyway.
What did Danny do with the money?
When he took it and he never gave it back to me.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
Good afternoon, Ms. McShann.
Good afternoon.
Did you know Danny Smith prior to February 10th of 2022?
No, I did not.
Isn't it true that Danny Smith never had a weapon on February 10th of 2022?
I didn't see him with one, but I don't know.
Isn't it true that Danny Smith was standing about 4 to 5 feet away from you?
Yes.
Did he tower over you?
Yes, I would say.
Your Honor, may I do a demonstration and approach the witness?
A demonstration to the question or to answer the question, or what exactly is the demonstration, counsel?
To the question, to the answer.
Go ahead. I'll give you some leeway, counsel.
I'm currently standing about 4 to 5 feet away from you. Am I towering over you?
Your Honor, the facts
Is there an objection?
Yes.
Sustained.
Am I close enough to touch
Counsel,
you?
there's an objection. I sustain the objection.
Isn't it true that Danny Smith never harmed you that day?
What do you mean by harm?
Isn't it true that he never touched you?
He never touched me.
Isn't it true that Joe Morris was the only one talking to you?
Yes.
Isn't it true that Danny Smith never demanded money from you?
He put his hand out, so he was asking for if he put his hand out, I don't know why he wouldn't want the money.
Well, isn't it true that you handed him the money?
Yes, because he had his hand
Objection,
out.
Your Honor. Asked and answered.
Sustained.
Isn't it true that you pleaded him to just take the money?
Yes, because he had his hand out, I didn't want to be harmed or stabbed by Joe Morris.
Please answer the following questions in a yes or no manner only.
Okay.
Isn't it true that Danny Smith never robbed you?
He did rob me.
Could you please explain how he robbed you?
He had his hand out, so I gave him the money because I was told to, and I had a knife threatening me, so I gave him the money because he had his hand out in front of me.
Well, did he forcefully take the money from you?
Objection, Your Honor. Badgering the witness.
Overruled. I'm allowed to answer the question.
What do you mean?
Yes or no?
What do you mean by
Unless we can't answer that particular question, yes or no, and so please indicate.
Okay, yeah. What do you mean by forcefully?
Did he snatch the money from you?
I don't know if I would use the word snatch, but he took it from me.
Isn't it true that you heard Danny Smith tell Joe Morris to leave you alone?
Yes.
So isn't it true that he tried to help you?
He didn't try very hard.
Well, isn't it true that you previously robbed Joe Morris?
Yes, which I feel sorry for. Poor guy.
Isn't it true that that vendetta between you and Joe Morris had nothing to do with Danny Smith?
Objection, Your Honor. Irrelevant.
Sustained.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Prosecution, and witness, please.
Your Honor, the prosecution calls Police Officer Johnson to the stand.
Officer Johnson.
remain standing. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Have a seat. Just state your name and the precinct you work for.
I'm Police Officer Johnson.
Your Honor. Sworn in.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Johnson, what were you doing on February 10th, 2022?
I was patrolling the southbound number 2 train at the 149th Street and Grand Concourse Station.
And what did you do when you were patrolling?
When the 3:30 train pulled in, I entered the train.
What did you see when you entered the train?
I saw 3 boys, who after further investigation, found out were Joe Morris, Bobby McShann, and Danny Smith. Bobby McShann was sitting down, but Joe Morris was holding a knife next to his left side, and Danny Smith was standing over him.
Is Bobby McShann here with us today?
Yes, she's the girl in the gray blazer.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that Police Officer Johnson has identified Bobby McShann.
So noted.
Mr. Johnson, do you recognize anybody else from the train here with us today?
Yes, I recognize the man in the white shirt sitting at the table. That's Danny Smith. And I recognize the man in the orange jumpsuit. That's Joe Morris.
Mr. Johnson, what did you do when you saw this scenario that was occurring?
I immediately rushed over to them and I ordered them to freeze.
And then what happened?
Well, the 2 boys quickly ran off of the scene. If they didn't, then it would have been my duty as a police officer to arrest them.
And what happened when they ran away?
I was chasing after them, and Joe Morris dropped the knife that he was holding to Bobby McShann's left side, and I kept chasing them until I got to around street level, but then both of them disappeared.
Your Honor, I asked that this 9-inch switch Smith and Wesson switchblade be marked as Prosecutor's Exhibit 1.
Show your adversary. That'll be marked plaintiff's 1 for prosecution 1 for ID.
Objection, Your Honor. I would like a voir dire.
For the voir dire?
Yes.
The evidence? Okay. Quickly.
Police Officer Johnson, isn't it true you saw Joe Morris holding the knife?
Yeah.
Isn't it true you saw Joe Morris drop the knife on the platform?
Yes.
Isn't it true you went to go chase Danny Smith and Joe Morris off the platform?
Yeah.
Isn't it true you did not have the knife with you? Isn't it true you left the knife unattended?
That's true.
Isn't it true there is no chain of custody?
Yeah, I guess.
No further questions.
Okay, I understand your point, Counsel. We're not putting it to evidence right now. We're just walking in for IDs. We can talk about that, but I understand what you're talking about. You may, that'll be marked as prosecutor's 1 for identification only.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Mr. Johnson, where was this knife dropped?
It was dropped like right outside of the train.
And did you chase Joe Morris and Danny Smith off out of the platform when leading? Did you chase Joe Morris and Danny Smith out of the platform when Joe
Objection,
dropped?
Your Honor. Leading question.
Sustained. Retrace the question, Counsel.
Did you, when the knife was dropped, what did you do?
I was chasing them. I was chasing Joe Morris and Danny Smith.
And what did you do after that?
After they disappeared, I immediately went back to the platform.
Where was the knife when you returned back to the platform?
Outside of where the train would be.
As a professional police officer, would you vouch a knife that you thought could have been tampered with?
I definitely would not.
Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, by virtue of the police officer's testimony, it was established that Joe dropped the knife. Police Officer Johnson chased Joe and Danny out of the station, returned to the...
Counsel, you'll have an opportunity to address the jury during summation. Right now we have a witness. Please ask the witness questions.
Okay. So, Mr. Johnson, can you please describe this knife?
That's a 9-inch Smith & Wesson switchblade.
Is this the knife that was dropped on the platform?
Yes.
Your Honor, we ask that this 9-inch Smith & Wesson switchblade be marked as We offer prosecutors Exhibit 1 into evidence at this time.
Any objection?
Any objections?
Your Honor, I voir dire the knife so it does not be submitted into evidence as
Is
police
there
officer.
objection based upon your voir dire?
Yes, Your Honor.
Objection sustained. Chain of custody issues.
Mr. Johnson, what happened when you returned to the station?
I saw Bobby McSham lying down on the train platform.
And what happened after that?
He was relocated to the Lincoln Hospital because of a stab wound on his left side.
Is this the same left side that Joe Morris was holding the knife to?
Objection,
Yes,
Your
it
Honor,
is.
leading.
Sustained. Rephrase the question, counsel.
What side was Joe Morris holding the knife to?
His left side, the same left side when there was a stab wound.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Police Officer Johnson.
Good afternoon.
Isn't it true you were at the back of the train car on February 10th, 2022?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Isn't it true you were at the back of the train car on February 10th, 2022?
Yeah.
Isn't it true you saw Joe Morris with a knife?
Yes.
Isn't it true you did not see Danny Smith interact with the knife?
Yes.
Isn't it true you did not see Danny Smith physically cause harm to Bobby McShan?
Yes.
Isn't it true you did not see Danny Smith demand money from Bobby McShan?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is no.
Oh, yes.
Isn't it true you did not see Danny Smith with a weapon?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Your excuse. Thank you, officer. Does people have any additional witnesses?
No, Your Honor. The prosecution rests at this time.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have heard the prosecution rest. That means you have heard all the evidence to be considered by you when this case is submitted to you for deliberation. The court now turns to the defense. Does the defense wish to call any witnesses on this matter?
Yes, Your Honor, but at this point in time, I move to dismiss this case for the failure of the prosecution to prove a prima facie case.
That motion is reserved. Please call your first witness.
Your Honor, the defense would like to call June Higgins to the stand.
June Higgins, please.
Just remain standing. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Have a seat. State your name for the record.
Jean Higgins.
All right. Your Honor, witness been sworn in.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What is your occupation?
I'm a high school teacher.
And for how long have you been teaching?
8 years.
Who, if anyone, can you identify in this courtroom today?
I recognize Danny Smith as the boy in the white collared shirt and gray pants.
Let the record reflect that June Higgins has identified Danny Smith with the boy in the white collared shirt and gray pants.
Let the record so reflect.
Miss Higgins, where do you recognize Danny Smith from?
Danny is a student at the school I teach and also helps from the Alternative Dispute Resolution Program, which I advise.
Miss Higgins, what is the Alternative Dispute Resolution Program?
The ADR is a program which helps troubled students solve their problems in a nonviolent manner.
Miss Higgins, how does Danny Smith solve these student disputes?
I don't exactly know how, but I do know that Danny Smith...
Objection, Your Honor, irrelevant.
Well, the question was how, and she answered she doesn't know how, so anything else would be irrelevant to say.
Miss Higgins, at what capacity does Danny Smith serve in the Alternative Dispute Resolution Program?
Danny is one of the kindest people there. He's able to connect with the students, and he's also able to have them open up to him in such a peaceful environment. It's just amazing how he's able to...
Objection, Your Honor, irrelevant.
Hello.
It's inspirational how he's able to get them to open up to him.
What, if anything, has Danny Smith earned from the ADR program?
Danny was given a certificate to honor his duties for the ADR program.
Your Honor, I would ask the court to mark for this certificate to be marked for identification.
The team marked defense.
Defense as A. Your Honor, may I show my adversary?
You may approach and you may go into the court officer or into the witness. Thank you.
Both, please.
Thank you.
Ms. Higgins, where do you recognize the certificate from?
This is the same certificate that I handed to Danny Smith personally.
And how did Danny Smith earn the certificate?
For the past couple of
Objection,
months...
asked and answered.
For the past couple of months, Danny had been working so hard, and I thought that his work needed to be appreciated and that he just deserved it, so I gave it to him.
Ms. Higgins, what does the certificate represent?
This certificate represents Danny's commitment to the ADR program and his reputation in the community. He's such a nice kid and is able to have students open up to him and is willing to help people inside and outside of school.
Your Honor, I would ask this court to submit this certificate as Defense Exhibit A.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to object to this certificate on the basis that it is irrelevant and inadmissible because there is no date nor is there any signature on the certificate.
Your Honor, may I be heard?
You may.
Jean Higgins is a character witness, and Jean Higgins has testified that she personally handed this certificate to Danny Smith for his excellence and for his commitment in the ADR program, and it shows his reputation in the community.
Well, the certificate will speak for itself. The testimony has been that she in fact did hand the certificate herself. I'm going now for the limited purpose of what the certificate does indicate and the fact that the witness testified she did hand this certificate to Danny Smith. So for that limited purpose, nothing else other than what it reads, this court will allow it as Defense Exhibit A for that limited purpose only. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You may proceed. Any other questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Higgins, to the best of your knowledge, has any student ever felt threatened by Danny Smith?
Danny is the type of person who wouldn't think to hurt a fly. How could he ever think to hurt a student? If he spends all his time in the ADR program helping other students, why would he ever think to harm another person? He's just that type of person. He's only here to help, nothing else.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Go up again.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Higgins.
Good afternoon.
Isn't it true that you are Danny's teacher?
Yes.
And isn't it true that you've been teaching him for only 4 years?
Yes.
What do you advise him in?
In the alternative dispute resolution program.
What do you do in this program?
Like I said before, we help troubled students solve their problems in a non-violent manner.
And in this program, do you deal with disputes outside of school?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question again?
In this program, do you deal with disputes outside of school?
We deal with disputes that have to do with the troubled students.
Your Honor, I would like you to ask the witness to answer my question as asked.
If you could answer the question outside of school, yes or no, I can't answer the question that way.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I can't answer the question in a yes or no manner.
Okay. Rephrase the question, counsel.
Do you deal with disputes with students outside of school?
No.
So, Danny Smith came to you about what happened on February 10th, 2022, on the southbound number 2 train. Is that right?
I don't recall.
So Danny Smith didn't tell you anything about what happened that day?
Like I said before, I don't recall.
Do you recall stating in a reported interview by licensed investigator Pamela Taylor, do you recall this reported interview?
I don't recall.
Your Honor, I would like to ask to refresh the witness's recollection with this reported interview done by licensed investigator Pamela Taylor.
Objection.
Objection, Your Honor.
Oh, she could provide this, provide a statement to the witness so she can do it.
You want to witness read the statement?
Right. Provide a statement to the witness, let her read it.
Read that and see if it refreshes your recollection.
Objection, Your Honor. This is attorney work product between me. This is attorney work product which is confidential.
May I see it? Are you claiming that this is a work product? Is that what you're claiming?
Yes, Your
This is a work product?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. I'm going to grant that application in view of the fact that the statement that has been provided to this board is not a statement, is not signed by this particular witness on the stand, and therefore is not her statement, is a third-party statement that is not here in court, and there is no signature of this witness. Sustained.
Mrs. Higgins, do you have any idea what Danny Smith does outside of school?
Yes,
Does he tell you about what he does outside of school?
I know about it.
Can you please elaborate on that?
I know he he volunteered at the YMCA.
Is that all you know about Mr. Smith?
It's the most important thing I know about him.
But has he told you anything about what he does outside of school other than volunteering?
Objection, Your Honor. Badgering.
Could you please repeat the question?
Do you know anything else about what Danny Smith does outside of school besides volunteering?
Yes or no answer.
Your Honor, I can't answer in a yes or no.
Okay. Rephrase the question.
Does Danny Smith, do you know anything else about what Danny Smith does outside of school?
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered.
Overruled.
Could you please ask the question again? I'm sorry.
Do you know anything else about what Danny Smith does outside of school, or just that he volunteers?
I know that he volunteers. That's the most primary, the most I know about him.
So you don't know anything
Objection, Your
else?
Honor. The time has run out.
All right, I think time is running out. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. All right, good enough. Next witness, please.
Your Honor, so the defense would like to call Joe Morris into the stand.
Joe Morris, please step up.
Morris, remain standing. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Have a seat. State your name for the record.
Joe Morris.
Your Honor, the witness has been sworn.
Your Honor, so before I begin, I'd like to mention that I do have a stuttering issue. So if the prosecution isn't able to understand my question, then I will be more than happy to repeat my question.
Counsel, we appreciate your being up forward. Mr. Witness, please understand that if you don't understand the question by the attorney, that you ask him to repeat. Okay, counsel, you remain quiet.
Okay. So good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Where are you currently residing?
Well, I'm in a prison jumpsuit. It's obvious that I'm in prison.
And why are you in prison?
I'm in prison for assault in the second degree, robbery in the first degree, and possession.
Who, so did you rob?
I robbed Bobby McShannon.
And who, so did you assault?
I assaulted Bobby McShannon.
Where were you on February 10, 2022?
I was on the southbound number 2 train.
And who, so did you see on the train that day?
I saw Bobby McShannon.
So what is your relationship with Bobby McShannon?
Bobby McShannon is the girl who robbed me.
And before approaching Bobby McShannon, what so did you say to Danny Smith?
I told Danny Smith I saw someone I wanted to talk to, and he just followed me without me saying anything.
And so why did you approach Bobby McShannon?
Because Bobby McShannon was the one who robbed me, and I saw this as my chance to get my money back.
And while trying to get your money back, what did Danny Smith do?
Danny Smith told me to leave her alone, but I told him I wouldn't leave until I got my money back.
And at that point, what did Bobby McShannon do?
Bobby McShannon told Danny Smith to take her money.
And how did you get so Danny Smith to take the money?
While I was holding up Bobby McShannon, I told Danny Smith to take it.
And what happened next?
The police officer got on the train and I harmed Bobby McShannon.
What, if any, weapons so did you see Danny Smith have that day?
Danny Smith didn't have a weapon.
And what, if any, physical harm did Danny Smith do to Bobby McShannon?
Danny Smith never touched Bobby McShannon.
And what, if any, signs of aggression did Danny Smith show against Bobby McShannon?
Danny Smith didn't show any aggression. He was just trying to defuse the situation, not escalate it.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may, counsel.
Good afternoon, Mr. Morris.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Morris, isn't it true you're found guilty of assault, robbery, and criminal possession of a weapon?
Yes.
Is it true that you and Danny are friends?
No. I barely know him.
Is it true that you and Danny go to school together?
Yes.
And is it true that you and Danny boarded the train together?
No, I just bumped into him on the train while I was heading to the train.
Is it true that Danny boarded the same train car you were in?
Yes.
And is it true that he boarded the same stop, boarded at the same stop that you boarded on?
Yeah.
Danny Smith approached Bobby McShannon, correct?
Danny Smith didn't approach him. He just followed me after I told him I saw someone I wanted to talk to.
Can you describe where Danny Smith was positioned?
He was 4 to 5 feet away from Bobby McShannon.
Isn't it true that Danny Smith was standing directly over Bobby McShannon?
No, like I said, he was 4 to 5 feet away.
Mr. Morris, how close was Danny Smith standing over John? Sorry. Mr. Morris, can you describe the appearance and size of Danny Smith?
Danny Smith was a pretty big guy. He was around 6 foot. I don't know how heavy he was, but he was pretty far away from Bobby McShannon.
Isn't it true that Danny Smith is 6'2" and 170 pounds?
I'd say so, yes.
Isn't it true that Danny continued to stand above the victim as you threatened him at knife point?
Can you repeat the question?
Isn't it true that Danny continued to stand over the victim as you threatened him at knife point?
I'm sorry, can you please say the question one more time?
Isn't it true that Danny continued to stand above the victim as you threatened him at knife point?
Danny Smith couldn't stand above the victim because he was 4 to 5 feet away.
Mr. Morris, did you take any money from Bobby McShannon?
No, I did not.
Mr. Morris, isn't it true that Danny Smith took $20 from Bobby McShannon?
After I told Bobby McShannon to give the money to him.
Your Honor, can you please instruct the witness to answer this question in a yes or no format only?
Okay. If you want that, please preface your question before that. If you're being asked a question, if you can answer yes or no, please do so. If you cannot answer yes or no, please let us know. We ask your question, counsel.
Mr. Morris, isn't it true that Danny Smith took $20 from Bobby McShannon?
Your Honor, I can't answer this in yes or no.
Next question.
Isn't it true that Bobby McShann is being held at knife point when he gave over $20?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you and Danny ran and the police showed up?
I don't know because I just ran. I was only focused on me. I just dropped the knife and I ran as soon as that police officer got on the car chain.
Did Danny Smith leave Bobby after he had been stabbed?
You know, I don't know. Like I said, I was just running. I have no idea where he was after that.
So you didn't see anything that Danny did on the whole train ride?
On the whole train ride?
Yeah.
Can you please ask the question?
So you didn't see anything that Danny did on the whole train ride?
I saw him standing 4 to 5 feet away, and after the police officer got on the train, I ran, and I have no idea where he was or what he was doing after that.
Thank you, Anna. No further questions.
Thank you, please step down. Defense, please call your next witness.
We would like to call Danny Smith to the stand.
Danny Smith, please step up.
Standing, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Loud, clear voice, state your name for the record.
My name is Danny Smith.
Witness has been sworn in.
Thank you. You may inquire.
Good afternoon, Mr. Smith.
Good afternoon.
What grade are you in?
I'm in the 12th grade.
And what school do you go to?
I go to Clinton High School.
What, if any, programs are you a part of in school?
I go to the alternate dispute resolution program.
Could you please tell me more about the alternate dispute resolution program?
The ADR is a program that I just love being a part of. I love helping kids solve their problems peacefully and non-violently.
And to what capacity are you involved in this program?
I lead the program, but also mentor the kids.
What, if anything, did you get from the program?
I got an award that showed my outstanding excellence in service to the program.
Who gave you the award?
Gene Higgins personally gave me the award.
Where, if anywhere else, do you volunteer?
I also volunteered at the YMCA.
Where, if anywhere, were you going on the day of February 10th of 2022?
I was heading home on the number 2 southbound train.
Who, if anybody, did you see on that day?
I had bumped into a kid I knew from the neighborhood, Joe Morris.
Please identify whoever you will recognize in court today.
The boy in the orange jumpsuit was Joe Morris, and the girl in the gray blazer is Bobby McShann.
Your Honor, please let the record reflect that Danny Smith has identified Joe Morris and Bobby McShann.
So noted.
Who were you entering the train with?
I didn't enter the train with anybody. I had bumped into Joe Morris.
How well do you know Joe Morris?
I barely know him. I just wanted to make small talk.
What happened after you fully entered the train?
After we entered the train, me and Joe Morris were making small talk, and he said he had recognized someone, and he went to go talk to them, and I blindfolded him, not knowing what happened next.
What happened after that?
As Joe Morris approached Bobby McShann, he had put a switchblade, and I was just frozen in fear at that point.
And at that point in time, what specifically did you tell Joe Morris to do?
I had told Joe Morris that I got here, leave her alone, but he would just not listen at all.
About how far were you standing from Bobby McShann?
I was about 45 feet away from her.
And what, if any, physical contact did you have with Bobby McShann?
I never touched Bobby McShann at all.
What, if anything, did you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
What happened after you told Joe Morris to leave Bobby McShann alone?
He said, I'm not leaving until I get my money back.
What happened after that?
Bobby McShann had begged for me to take the money from her hands, absolutely pleaded with me.
And what was your intent to take the money?
I didn't have any intent to take the money. Joe Morris could pull the knife from me at any moment.
And what happened after Bobby McShann handed you the money?
After Bobby McShann gave me the money, a police officer came on the train car and ordered me to freeze.
What happened after that?
I ran away because I was so scared. I just saw somebody stabbed in a train car, and I couldn't do anything about it. I tried, but I couldn't.
What, if any, weapon did you carry that day?
I don't have a weapon. I never would get a weapon.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, Mr. Smith. true that you took the southbound number 2 train on February 10th, 2022?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you immediately walked over to Bobby McShann when you entered the train car?
No.
Isn't it true that you were standing about 4 feet away from Bobby?
Somewhere around 45 feet.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Somewhere around 45 feet.
Isn't it true that you did not leave when Joe Morris pulled out the knife?
I was just frozen in fear at that point. Everything happened so fast.
Isn't it, you were part of a conflict resolution club, correct?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you did not do anything to resolve this conflict?
I tried. He had a knife. He could have put on me at any moment.
Isn't it true that Joe never threatened you?
He had a knife.
Isn't it true that he never verbally threatened you?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you took money from Bobby McShann?
Bobby McShann handed me the money.
Isn't it true that you held out your hand for an indication that you wanted Bobby to hand you the money?
Because Joe Morris told me to.
Isn't it true that you ran when the police came into the car and told you to freeze?
Yes.
Isn't it true that you ran out of the train with Joe?
I didn't really know where Joe was. Everything happened so fast I couldn't keep track of anything.
Isn't it true that you ran out of the train with Bobby's money?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may step down. Counsel for the defense, please call your next witness.
Your Honor, at this moment, the defense rests.
Thank you.
So, Your
Ladies
Honor.
and gentlemen of the jury, you heard the magic words, defense rests. You've already heard that the prosecution rests, which means you've heard all the evidence you will hear in this case. It is now time for each side to present what we call closing arguments or summations. In a criminal trial, the burden of proof goes to the prosecution, which is why they went first in their openings, followed by the defense. When we do the summations, we reverse the roles. Counsel for the defense, you ready to give your closing summations?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may begin, counsel.
So thank you, Your Honor, and so ladies and gentlemen of the jury for giving us your precious time. This is an unusual case, as the prosecution witnesses actually agree with the defense witnesses. For the prosecution witnesses testified that Danny Smith never had a weapon, they never heard Danny Smith demand money from Bobby McShann, and in fact, they never saw Danny Smith harm Bobby McShann. But, so ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let me explain to you what the defense has shown today. Gene Higgins describes Danny Smith as a stellar student. Danny Smith was so effective at the alternative dispute resolution program that he earned a certificate, which shows his reputation within the community. Joe Morris has confessed that he was the one who robbed and stabbed Bobby McShann, and that what occurred on February 10, 2022 had nothing at all to do with Danny Smith. Danny Smith has testified that he never had a weapon that day, and that he never demanded money, but he also stated that he attempted to use his alternative dispute resolution program skills by telling Joe Morris to leave Bobby McShann alone. The prosecution has failed to prove that Danny Smith had the mens rea to commit any of these crimes, as in order to be found guilty of assault in the first degree, Danny Smith must have the intention to harm Bobby McShann. But let me remind you that on February 10, 2022, Police Officer Johnson, Francis Gilwell, and Bobby McShann have all stated that Danny Smith never had a weapon, but also did not harm Bobby McShann. In order to be found guilty of robbery, Danny Smith must have the criminal intent to forcibly take that money away. But Francis Gilwell has testified that Bobby McShann handed the money to Danny Smith. And criminal possession of stolen property. In order to be found guilty, He must have the intent to benefit himself with the money. But how can that be when Joe Morris was the one who told Danny Smith to take the money, and in fear for Bobby McShann's life, Danny Smith took the money, for he did not want Bobby McShann to get hurt. With all this in mind, Your Honor, the only correct verdict is the verdict of not guilty.
Thank you, counsel. Counsel of the prosecution, you prepared to give your closing statement?
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may, counsel.
Thank you. Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today we have presented to you a case in which a young man was brutally stabbed and robbed by two intimidating men who then ran when they got caught. Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let us revisit the details of the day which have emerged throughout this trial. On February 10, 2022, on the southbound number 2 train around 3:30 p.m., Bobby McShann was victim of two ruthless men, one of which stabbed him and the other robbed him. Imagine you, a 17-year-old boy coming home from school, taking the train you always take, feeling comfortable on this route, and then these two intimidating men come up to you, rob you, stab you, and leave you to die, and then run away. This left a serious physical and mental toll on Bobby McShann. She was practically breaking down at the stand after this happened because of this traumatic incident. This was not only a theft, but this crime was also used with a knife, which clearly showed that these two men were really ruthless. The defense has argued that Danny tried to resolve this conflict using his conflict resolution skills at school. But what kind of conflict resolution is it if you try and say one thing to defuse the situation, and after you try that, you steal money? His conflict resolution class could have told him to help the situation and try and do something more than saying, leave him alone. In addition, he acted in concert by blocking anybody from seeing and blocking the poor victim from getting up. In addition, the defense has argued that Danny Smith didn't need to take the money, but it's clear that he intended to because his handout was prior to any money that was taken out of Bobby McShann's pockets. Also, the defense argued that this case could kind of be wrong place, wrong time, that Danny was a victim in this case. But he could have left at any time or tried to defuse the situation more or get help. If he was really a victim, he would have stopped when the police came, because any victim would be relieved. Both men evaded police after this because it was clear that they didn't want to get caught after doing this crime. As the defense has shown an award given to Danny for his conflict resolution skills, but it has no signs of authenticity. It has no signature or no date given. Clearly, anybody could print this off of a Photoshop website. You've heard testimony from Danny Smith, who actually ended up running with Bobby's money. You've heard testimony from Jean Higgins, in which she claims to know Danny very well, but she has no idea what he's involved in outside of school besides the YMCA. Therefore, she is unreliable witness seeing that Danny could partake in anything outside of school. You've heard testimony from Bob McShann, who was breaking down at the stand after facing this horrible, traumatic incident. She also stated that she witnessed the robbery, acting in concert and fleeing of the perpetrators. And lastly, testimony from Frances Goodwell, who stated she saw the robbery and fleeing in this brutal crime. Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we ask you to carefully consider all the evidence presented to you in this case. And for the welfare of the city, it is right and just to find Danny Smith guilty on all charges. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have heard all the evidence. You have heard all the evidence. The defendant here is charged with robbery in the first degree, assault in the first degree, criminal possession of stolen property in the fifth degree, and a larceny. Our law recognizes that two or more individuals enact jointly to commit a crime, and in that certain circumstances, each can be held criminally liable for the act of the other. In that situation, those persons can be said to be acting in concert with one another. Our law defines the circumstances under which one person may be criminally liable for the conduct of another. That definition is as follows. When one person engages in conduct which constitutes an offense, another is criminally liable for such conduct when acting with the state of mind required for the commission of that offense that he or she solicits, requests, commands, importunes, or intentionally aids such person to engage in such conduct. Under that definition, mere presence at the scene of a crime, even with knowledge that the crime is taking place, or mere association with the perpetrator of a crime, does not by itself make a defendant criminally liable for that crime. Therefore, in order for the defendant here, Danny Smith, to be criminally liable for the conduct of Joe Morris, which constitutes an offense, you must find beyond a reasonable doubt, one, that on February 10th, the defendant, Danny Smith, solicited, requested, commanded, or intentionally aided Joe Morris in criminal conduct, and that the defendant, Danny Smith, did so with the state of mind required for the commission of that offense. Reasonable doubt is the doubt based upon reason and common sense. Now, robbery in the first degree, for you to find Danny Smith guilty of this crime, the prosecution is required to prove from the evidence in this case, beyond a reasonable doubt, that on February 10th, in the county of the Bronx, Danny Smith, while acting in concert with Joe Morris, forcibly stole property, $20 in U.S. currency, and in the course of the commission of that crime, or the immediate flight therefrom, Danny Smith, or another participant in that crime, was armed with a deadly weapon, in this case, the knife. Assault in the first degree. In order for you to find Danny Smith guilty of that charge, the people are required to prove from all the evidence in this case, beyond a reasonable doubt, that on February 10th in the county of Bronx, Danny Smith acted in concert with Joe Morris, caused serious physical injury to Bobby McShann by means of that deadly weapon, the knife, with the intent to cause serious physical injury to Mr. McShann. Now, only if you find Danny Smith not guilty of those previously mentioned charges will you consider robbery in the first degree or assault, then you would get to criminal possession of stolen property in the fifth degree, in which the people are required to prove from all the evidence in this case, beyond a reasonable doubt, that on February 10th in Bronx County, Danny Smith, acting in concert with Joe Morris, knowingly possessed stolen property, $20, with the intent to benefit himself or a person other than the owner of that currency. Petty larceny is the fourth count you'll consider. And in that matter, the prosecution is required to prove from all of the evidence in this case, and again, it must be beyond a reasonable doubt, that on the 10th of February in Bronx County, Danny Smith, acting in concert with Joe Morris, wrongfully took, obtained, or withheld property from Bobby McShann, and that Danny Smith did so with the intent to deprive Mr. McShann of that property, $20, or appropriate that property, the money, for himself or for a third party. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that concludes my instructions to you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, at this time, you're going to follow the officer into the jury room and commence your deliberation. You will get a copy of the verdict sheet together with whatever has been marked in evidence. Officer, please carefully read the verdict sheet as to respond accordingly as your findings may be based on the facts and the law as has now been given to you by Judge Danziger. Once you have reached your verdict, please let the officer know. Understand your verdict must be unanimous on this matter. Kindly now rise and follow the court officer to the jury room. All right, first of all, I just want to let both sides know that the verdict is not an indication one way or the other of the performance, okay? Or what the score may be. We ourselves do not know what the final score will be. You will find out the conclusion. This is just an exercise to show you what a trial would actually look like. What the jury does inside, that's actually up to the jurors in there and what they believe the evidence has shown to them, okay? So once they come out, it's what they believe the evidence has been shown to them throughout the trial. But again, I want to stress, it's not an indication one way or the other what the scores in this particular trial will be, okay?
Judge Taylor and Judge McShann have been doing this and running this for a long time. I've known both of them, nearly 30 years, and and like Judge Guzman, we've been involved with this program almost since the beginning. They work tirelessly to make this very, very, very real and very important. I know you had a ceremony before you came up here. Many of the people who sat in your chair many years ago have gone on to become practicing lawyers. All of you should be very proud of the presentation you gave before Justice Guzman and myself this afternoon. You were prepared, you were articulate, you were well coached, your objections were timely and proper, the questions were, we understood what the point you were trying to make. I know your coaches and teachers spent a lot of time working on this. Unfortunately, not all of your appearances could have been in person, a lot of them were virtual. I understand from talking to Justice Taylor and Justice McShann that next year, we hope that, finally you're doing this, although I hopefully in your high school you'll have this as well, and you'll be able to continue. If anybody here, based upon this, have an interest in entertaining the law as a profession when you grow up?
Well, I think you've grown up now. It doesn't mean grow up. I think you're all grown up now.
That's correct. Please, don't be scared. You grow with so much school. Take it one day at a time. It goes fast. Trust me. It goes fast. Don't look at the end. Look at one day at a time. It's a very, very interesting field. Not everybody comes to the courtroom. Some people spend their years as lawyers never been in the courtroom.
I will use one word I've learned to use a lot for all of you, and that's courage. It took courage for all of you to be where you're sitting at right now. And you should be proud of yourself because of that courage. Courage to stand up in front of a big audience like this, okay? And as adults, young adults, okay, speak up and even to be afraid and have that courage if you make a mistake. It's okay, because you learn from those mistakes. There's no mistakes. There's learning curves. That's how you look at it, okay? And that's what you take away from it, all right? You learn from it. And that you had that courage to come up and do this, you're ahead of the game. All the schools and all the teams that took part in this, and all the students that took part in this, whether they were witnesses, attorneys, or even participated in any way whatsoever, that took courage. So, I applaud you on that you took that step, because that shows that in your future journey, you are all leaders. And that speaks very highly of all of you, okay? So I'm honored, okay, to be sitting here in front of you, all of you, and have the opportunity to observe all of you and hear all of you and what you have learned and continue to learn. Now, you should be proud. You have a jury in there, and they seem to be arguing back and forth, because I hear that. So that's really a real-world jury thinking back and forth. And as real attorneys, that's what you want them to do. Whatever it may be, whatever the end result may be, as long as you all you can do is give 100% to the people of the state you represent, to your client that you have that you're representing, then you know you did your job, and then it's up to them. And you can't ask for anything else. Okay? So thank you for allowing me to sit here and observe all of you.
Les pide el round of applause.
All rise, jury entry. May be seated.
Will the fourth person of the jury please rise? Okay. Foreperson, I understand that the jury has reached a verdict. Is that correct?
Full person, put them mask, answer the question.
Okay. I'm going to ask you, and since we both need to see the page, you want to come up here? I'm going to have you publish the verdict at this time. Will the defense and the defense team please rise for the publication of the verdict?
All right.
Mr. Foreperson, on the charge of robbery in the first degree, how does your jury find?
Not guilty.
Mr. Foreperson, on the second charge, assault in the first degree, how does the jury find?
Not guilty.
Mr. Foreperson, on the charge of criminal possession of stolen property in the fifth degree, how does the jury find?
Guilty.
Mr. Foreperson, on the charge of petty larceny, how does the jury find?
Guilty.
Thank you. You may be seated.
The court has heard the verdict being rendered. The defendant having been found guilty of count 3 and count 4 as charged will be remanded to the corrections facility for sentencing to be rendered at a future date.
Court stands in recess.
All right. Applause, please. I don't know if any of you have questions. Now I can give you just 2 quick remarks that I noted. One was the demonstration of the tape. Yes. Okay. Usually when you want to do what they call a demonstrative, that's a demonstrative, and I understood where you were going. The problem was that I observed you wanted to show the towering. However, we were in a courtroom. We did not establish that the scenario was the exact or close to the same scenario as the subway. Where I thought you were going was the distance when you pulled the tape, which would have made more sense. That's why I allowed it. But when you said towering, she was kind of sitting high up over you, so it would have made a false sort of inaccurate impression to the jury. So that's why at that point I disallowed it. Yes.
Is it okay to use like props? Like, is the tape measure, is that considered a prop?
It's demonstration, what we call demonstrative evidence.
Okay.
And you can use demonstrative evidence as long as it fairly and accurately, those are the key words, demonstrate what you want to show, whether it's a photograph, whether it's a map, whether it was the distance, which could have been shown, the distance from the witness to a chair or whatever, but the towering was going to be not kind of appropriate because she was standing up, the witness seat is kind of high, and the attorney was low. So, yes, she was going to retaliate. It wasn't quite the fair and accurate
You
representation.
would want to establish that the tape measure was a proper tape measure. There are people who have 3 inches, looks like 3 feet. So if you were to sit there and say, this is an ordinary tape measure, I can do it in A, B, and C, and here's 5 feet, this is how far you are, you really mean this is 5 feet. If you're trying to show that they were exaggerating the 5 feet, well, you said 5 feet, look at this is all the way over here. Or if you're trying to say it's close, you mean this is all you want, so there's ways to do that.
Right, so you can. Any other questions?
Tell me, you ready for us?
And the chain, we're on the chain of custody, that's what
Take the
we're
reference.
Okay, all right.
We'll see everybody down in the rotunda.
So let's get settled in. We are calculating the 7th grade score, so give us a couple minutes. In the meantime, we want to get started again. I had an opportunity to observe both courtrooms, and I saw some really stiff competition. So before I announce the winner, or the winners, I'm also going to announce who will receive the Best Witnesses Award for the 7th grade and for the 8th grade. And I will also announce the scholarship winners, the Best Advocates for the 7th and 8th grades. And then we will announce our championship teams. And you see these trophies? These trophies has been around for over 20 years, and your names, the winning school's name will be added to the trophies, and each school will be able to keep the trophy for 1 year until next year. And every school, the winning schools will receive the plaque to keep in the schools permanently. But before we announce the winner, we have a very special speaker who has made history in the Bronx. She is our fabulous borough president, the Honorable Vanessa Gibson.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Bronx Borough Hall. Make some noise. All right. Are you excited? Okay, so guess what? I stand in between you and announcing the winners. I have a 45-minute speech. Just joking. But we want to make sure Judge Eddie McShann and the team counts this correctly, so we're going to give them a couple of minutes. But I am proud to welcome each and every one of you to the 25th annual Thurgood Marshall Jr. Mock Trial Competition. I hope you all had a wonderful afternoon. This work is truly about each and every one of you. As the Bronx Borough President, I am excited to welcome all of you here to Bronx Borough Hall. This is our official closing ceremony, and we want to say thank you to all of our judges. Can we give them all a round of applause? We have our presiding justices, the Honorable Doris Gonzalez and the Honorable Justice Alvin Yearwood. And I want to quickly shout out that we have representation from Icon School 2. Are you here? All right, make some noise, Icon. All right. What about the Epiphany School? Make some noise. All right, they loud. What about the Sheila Mentor School? Woo, wow. Wow, that was a lot. Any other schools? Oh my gosh. Okay, Sheila Mentor, you guys are the loudest. All right, wow. I love the energy. All of you should know, young scholars, that this program was founded by someone who is now a Supreme Court justice right here in the Bronx. I am so excited because while I did not know her 25 years ago, I certainly knew her about 20 years ago. And I came to know the Thurgood Marshall Junior Mock Trial Program and what it provided for so many of our middle school students. An introduction to the judiciary, to the court system, from the perspective of all of you seeing yourselves as future judges, defense attorneys, lawyers, prosecutors, and making sure that you all know that this work is about your future. So I want you to give the strongest round of applause for our founder, Judge Elizabeth Taylor. We have an amazing team that runs this junior mock trial program each and every year. For 25 years, scholars, we have held this competition right here at Bronx Borough Hall. This is an amazing program that invests in all of you. It gives you an introduction to the court system so that you can see all of your hopes, your possibilities, and your dreams. Judge McShann said that while I am the first African American and the first female to serve as your Bronx Borough President, guess what? I will not be the last. There will be another. There will be another. We want to make sure that all of our scholars look at us and see yourselves. We want you to see the possibilities that life has to offer. We want to make sure that all of you know that you are destined for great success. Any and everything is possible when you work hard, when you focus on your goals, when you make sure that you don't get distracted by anyone. No one can determine your future except you. Don't let anyone stand in the way of your journey and your destiny. Whatever dreams you have, we want to make sure that those dreams are realized. And that is what the Thurgood Marshall Junior Mock Trial Program has done these 25 years. So I am so grateful to our coordinator. I want to recognize Darlene Malave, who is here, our administrators, Tracy Rowe and Stephanie Ramos, and our board of directors. We have an amazing board of directors, of lawyers, of judges that believe in this program, that believe in all of you. And so everyone is a winner today, right? Everyone is a winner today. Everyone. Because you are so important to this borough. We cannot do this work without recognizing our young people as the next generation of leaders. And so I am so glad you got to experience this Thurgood Marshall Junior Mock Trial Program. And I hope you tell a friend and a classmate so that this program can continue for the next 25 years, right? Next generations. So I just want to encourage all of you to keep going, to dream big, to have high hopes, to know that nothing is impossible. You determine your journey. Don't let someone stand on the sidelines and define your value and your worth. But you are a star. You are a king. You are a queen. And no matter what, we are here to support you every step of the way. Judge, we ready? You sure? We counted? You counted more than once? Double check? Triple check? Oh, he said quadruple. Okay. Congratulations, everyone. Thurgood Marshall Junior Mock Trial Program. All right. Now I get to pass the mic back over to my good friend, our very own Judge Eddie McShann.
Thank you. She is always a hard act to follow, so forgive me if I don't follow her footsteps as well as she made those last speeches. But now is the time that we all been waiting for, right? You guys are not ready for me to announce the winners. Now is the time we are waiting for, right? Uh-oh, the boss is here. The boss is here. I guess I got ahead of myself. We have two really distinct alumni from the mock trial program who are here today. I want to just recognize Ardwin Nunez from St. Angela Marici from the class of 2018. Where's Ardwin? Where are you? There he is, from 2018. And we're also going to say a couple brief words. She is also a very distinguished alumnus of the mock trial program. Her name is Natalia Nunez. She's from the Annunciation School. She participated both in the 7th grade and in the 8th grade. And she's now she's in the legal compliance division for Morgan Stanley. Natalia, come on up. And she still looks like she's in junior high school as well.
Thank you. How are we feeling today? I promise I will not keep you too long from hearing the winners because I know that's what you are all patiently waiting for. But I just wanted to say a few words. First and foremost, congratulations to the 7th and 8th grade teams who made it to the finals. Give yourselves a round of applause. Congratulations to everybody, though, for the hard work and dedication that you have put into this program. You should all be so proud of yourselves for this incredible accomplishment. I participated in the mock trial program when I was in the 7th and 8th grade 10 years ago, and have been returning since as a volunteer because of the positive impact that it had on me. This program not only inspired me to pursue a career in law, but it also served as the foundation for my public speaking skills and my critical thinking skills, which allowed me to be a standout individual in high school, in college at Duke, and in my current job at Morgan Stanley. Whether I have to give a last-minute presentation to senior lawyers, or find the needle in a haystack in a spreadsheet listing million-dollar trades, I know that I can rely on the confidence that I built through this program to help me succeed. And each and every one of you, by being participants or finalists in this program, I know that you have what it takes to succeed as well. So believe in yourselves. I'm so excited for what comes next for each and every one of you. And congratulations again. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Natalia. I'm telling you guys, all you students don't realize it yet, but there's some great things that are ahead of you. You're gonna have a great future. And just remember the skills that you receive, that you develop as a result of this mock trial program. All right, we're done with the speakers. It's now time to announce some prizes. So I'm gonna have the fabulous Dana Diaz, one of our secretary, come up. She's going to give you the list of prizes that we have for the championship teams. We're also going to announce who are the best witnesses for the 7th and 8th grade and the best advocates for the 7th and 8th grade. We're going to have Dr. Sandy Case come up in a second. But it's important that you guys know what each student will be receiving. Dana, I can't find your list. I'm looking for the list. You have your list? Somehow we lost the list of prizes, but it's not in my pocket. So the first place team, each student will receive a $100 gift certificate. You're going to receive New York Yankee tickets. Yeah. You're going to be recognized on the field of the Yankee Stadium, so you're going to be able to see yourself on the big Jumbotron television and some other great prizes. Every student is going to receive a prize bag, but the first place and the second place teams, you're going to get some special prizes that you're going to get. Second place team gets a $50 gift certificate and Yankee tickets as well. Okay? Now, the best advocate will receive the $2,500 Kenneth K. Scholarship to be given to them when they enter into college or when they enter into the military, either one, or get accepted into the military. So that's going to be huge as well. And so the best advocate will also receive a Samsung tablet, and the best witness will also receive a smaller Samsung tablet, but they both receive Samsung tablets. And I can't believe that I misplaced the prize list, so I did it the best I could. Now, this would not be possible with all our sponsors. I want to bring your attention, guys. Every student is going to receive a journal. Please look at the sponsors from the journal. I want to give a special thanks to the New York Yankees, who has always been a huge sponsor of ours. The Bronx County Bar Association, who's our parent company that keeps everything in check. The Honorable Stephen Kaufman, who's left, who's on our board. The Honorable Stanley Schlein, Brandon Fernandez, Frank Lavero, just to name a few. But please look into the journal and identify and recognize all the sponsors that make this program possible. All right. The time we all been waiting for. I'm going to ask Dr. Sandy Case come up. So Dr. Sandy Case, she's going to tell you a little bit about her former husband, who the scholarship is named after, Kenneth Case, who was a phenomenal attorney in Bronx County, who passed away, unfortunately, but he left his legacy by always being a huge supporter of the program. And it's going to let Dr. Case tell a little about herself. She's very involved in all the schools, and also tell a little bit about the scholarship.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Judge. And boys and girls, we are so proud of you, and I get the best job today. I get to announce some of the winners. So I'm not going to make a speech. I'm going to wait for the cue, and Judge McShannon is going to tell me exactly what to say. All right.
So we're announcing first the seventh grade winner of the 25th annual Thurgood Marshall Junior Mock Trial Program, the Best Witness Award.
Okay. All right. The Best Witness Award goes to Josiah Roman from Icon Charter School 2. Okay. His role was Police Officer Sam Connor. Come on up.
Come on up, Josiah. Wait. Shake hands. Shake hands. Congratulations.
And the next prize goes to the Best Witness for the 8th grade. And the winner is, do I hear a drum roll? Oh. Okay. This Alan. The Best Witness is Alan Best from the Steel Elementary School, PSMS 95. Okay, and his role was Joe Morris. Congratulations. Good job.
The next prize goes to the best advocate who will be the scholarship winner for the 7th grade. And the winner is Tom Karen from the Epiphany School. Okay, on the defense team. Congratulations. Tom will receive his scholarship in the fall, and we're very excited for him. Congratulations. Okay. All right. So the next prize goes to the best advocate for the 8th grade. And the winner is, I love it, Kadatu Berry from the Steel Elementary School. Okay, congratulations.
Let's give another big round of applause to our best advocates and our best witnesses. Congratulations. It was a very hard choice, and just so you know, the way we determine it is after every competition, the judge recommends a best advocate and the best witness. And what we did was, through the help of our administrative staff, we tallied whoever names came up the most, and that person won each of those prizes. So congratulations to you guys for doing such a great round. Great job in each round. Now, it's almost time to announce the winners. We do have a special recognition that we want to give to the lifeline of this program. We got her flowers. We're going to ask Judge Elizabeth Taylor to come up. You guys don't understand how much effort it takes to put this program on every year. The board for the mock trial program decided not only to give her flowers, but also to give her a 25th anniversary plaque. That Dana's gonna read.
This is coming from the 25th Annual Thurgood Marshall Jr. Mock Trial Competition in honor of Judge Elizabeth A. Taylor for your relentless dedication and unwavering commitment to shape the lives of our future leaders. We are forever grateful.
Thank you, everyone. I just want to say one word because I know a lot of you have to get out of here. First of all, we have to thank all of the volunteers. Without them, this program would not be possible. And when I say a lot of volunteers, there are too many names to mention, okay? They deal with my craziness, they do their stuff, and they get it, and you shut up. No, but they deal with me, and you know, I do appreciate it because they do it for you guys, okay? So one thing, we just have to thank them out there, you know, for doing stuff. And then who else? Our board members for getting out there, helping us to get sponsors. I hope I didn't forget anybody. Okay, thank you.
One more time for the fabulous Elizabeth Taylor. All right. This is my favorite part of the program. We're going to start with the 7th graders. I'm going to have Icon Charter 2 prosecution team, please come to the stage on this side. We're going to have the defense team from the Epiphany School, please come to the stage on this side. And you talk about a razor-thin competition. I'm going to ask the teachers to come up as well as the coaches. So any teachers, any coaches for either team, please come up and join your team. Any teachers, any coaches, please come up. So this is the 7th grade trophy that started it all off. When we first started the program 26 years ago, we only had it the 7th grade. And then a few years later, we added the 8th grade. So this trophy has been around for 26 years, and the winning team gets to keep this trophy in their school for 1 year, and we add their plaque to the trophy. And after a very close competition, we have to determine who's going to take home this trophy. And I just want to say, when I was in the 7th grade, right? Oh, you guys don't want to hear that. This year winner for the 7th grade competition of the 25th annual Thurgood Marshall Junior Mock Trial Program is the defense team from the Epiphany School! Congratulations, guys. Shake hands. Shake hands. You guys did a great job. Shake hands. Congratulations again to our champions, the Epiphany School Defense Team. Congratulations. Wasn't that exciting? Now it's the 8th grade time. I'm going to ask the prosecution team from the Epiphany School to come to this side of the stage. We're going to ask the defense team from Sheila Mincher, PS 95, please come up to this side of the stage. I'm going to ask any coaches and teachers, all coaches and teachers, please come up and join your team. Coaches and teachers, please come up and join your team. And this was a razor-thin competition. Came down to us having to double check and triple check the scores. But we do have an 8th grade champion for the 25th annual Thurgood Marshall Junior Mock Trial Program, our silver anniversary, and I'm so excited to announce the winner, which is the defense team from the Elementary School, PS 95! Congratulations, guys. Shake hands. Shake hands, guys. Can you imagine her sometimes? Shake hands, shake hands.
Like she was when you
One more time for our 8th grade champion, PS 95! The Epiphany School. The Epiphany School, you forgot your prize bag. All right, again, I just want to congratulate all the students who have participated this year. Yes, you guys deserve a huge round of applause. Number one, because you guys did it virtually. You survived it doing it virtually. And those who made the semifinal round and the final round, you were able to adapt, come in, and do a fantastic job in person. So congratulations to all the schools. All right. Again, a special thanks to all the volunteers. We do have lunch for everybody, but I don't want you to bum rush. So when I call your school, please go up and grab a lunch. Congratulations again. You all deserve a round of applause one more time for this year's mock trial team.